Non-verbal communication and semiosis. Non-verbal communication, wordless communication, and semiosis, the science of sign. So this is a very integral part of this non-verbal communication. So let's see the types of non-verbal communication. We say that heard melodies are sweet, but unheard are sweeter. Similarly, we say that verbal messages are strong, but non-verbal messages are stronger. Whenever we communicate verbally, the messages are strengthened and weakened by our non-verbal messages. These non-verbal messages are made with this gestures, with eye contact, facial expression, body language, and along with all these things, there is non-verbal messages which we give through timing, through space, and a lot more, right? So understanding non-verbal communication is very important. It increases our competency of verbal messages. We need to know the right channel to give a non-verbal message. That is very important. So learning different non-verbal channels is very important, as it is important to learn the channels in the verbal communication. If we do not understand channels in verbal communication, we cannot get our message across. We cannot get the feedback. We cannot send our messages. Similarly, if we do not know the non-verbal channels of communication, we may not be able to communicate effectively and to achieve the results that we want. So non-verbals often work in agreement with each other, combining to repeat, modify, or contradict the verbal messages. So these non-verbal messages work together. At a time, we are using different channels of non-verbal communication, and these channels sometimes contradict the message, sometimes they contradict each other, sometimes they strengthen each other or modify each other. So they are doing different tasks at the same time, and a person who is emitting all these things is doing all these things at one time. Non-verbal communication, as I said, increases our competence. Using the right channel of non-verbal communication at the right moment with the right verbal message can bring back the desired result that a communicator wants to achieve. So it's very important that we must know the channels, and knowing the channels will make us more competent communicators. However, one thing is there, as we have rules for verbal communication, we have the rules of grammar, we have the rules of meaning, we have semantic, we have grammar, we know how syntax works. We all know all these things regarding the verbal communication. But so far as the non-verbal, and these things are written, there are books and philosophies and theories, well, you can imagine and you know it yourself too. But so far as the non-verbal communication is concerned, it doesn't have any rule like this. But there are certain books written by scholars which discuss very effectively that what these non-verbal messages are, what these non-verbal channels are, and how they work in different contexts, and when they have negative meaning, when they have positive meaning, when they strengthen, when they weaken the message. So there is a lot about written in the books about this aspect of non-verbal communication. So we can get many good books written on non-verbal communication that are available in the market, that we can get on the internet. So coming to the types of non-verbal communication, we have one of the types that incorporate semiosis in it Kinesics is one type. Haptics is another type. Vocalics is the third one. Proxemics is the fourth one. And chronomics is the fifth one. So these are different channels that in which we use body language, channels in which we use timing, channels in which we use space, so and so. So we will discuss these things and try to know that how do they work. So knowing types of non-verbal communication is very important.